Soon you'll see as I flow fluently to frequently another MC will drop off the face of this earth for what it's worth. I've been the nastiest one since birth. Soon you'll see as I flow fluently to frequently another
What's going on,
MC
boxing
will
fans?
drop
Jordan
off
Williams
the
here at
face
the
of
distance.
this
Got a
earth.
video for you guys. This is a prediction for the upcoming bout between Giovanni Segura and Brian Viloria. This is for the WBO Flyweight Championship. Takes place this Saturday. I believe out here it's actually gonna air out here in Texas. I don't know if it's airing anywhere else, but I believe it's gonna be airing on Telemundo in Texas. Like I said, I don't know where it's gonna air anywhere else, but just overall, this is an interesting fight between two 150-pound fighters. Giovanni Segura is a former unified light flyweight champion. Had a great match against Ivan Calderon back in August of 2010, and pretty much came back and he beat him in the third round, the rematch. Went on, he had kind of tested the waters a little bit back in June as a flyweight, and moving up in weight, and Brian Viloria is the champion in this fight, WBO flyweight champion. Brian Viloria, I've seen a lot of his fights. It's pretty good. Very very offensive, very powerful right hand. Pretty good hand speed. Fight has can be very controlled, not necessarily technical, but very controlled, and controlled in the ring. Always knows where he is. Always throw. Most of the time he's throwing punches. His first tendency is to punch. When he gets tagged. But also, with Giovanni Segura's tendency is to punch when he gets tagged as well. He throws a lot of arm punches that actually hurt. So, going into this fight, I'm going to start with Giovanni Segura. Segura is somewhat of a switch hitter. Most of the time, he doesn't have a distinguished stance. I believe he's a southpaw, but I've seen him, when he kind of changed position and he gets into the orthodox stance. And he gets into the orthodox stance and he comes in, he tries to look for a different direction when he walks in. He's very flat-footed, but his main tendency is to throw punches. He tends to throw a lot of punches per round. He's always coming forward. He's always kind of looking for that opening. And against Viloria, this is going to be one of those fights where he's going to be fighting the bigger fighters, a fighter that's bigger than him and more distinguished at this weight. So in this specific fight, he does want to continue to come after Viloria, make Viloria throw a lot of punches, make Viloria take steps back. This is the kind of fights where Segura wants to use more jabs. Something that Segura does tend to abandon from time to time is the jab. And who knows why he abandons it, but he does tend to abandon that jab in exchange for a power shot or an arm punch. But he's always coming forward. He's always pressing the action. And in this fight against Viloria, it might work to his favor or work to his advantage due to the fact that Brian Viloria does square up with his opponent. He squares up. He throws his punches and he puts his punches together very well. If Segura can kind of lower himself to be less of a target and kind of get right towards the body of or on the stomach of Viloria, I think he can sustain a very good body attack. He can sustain a good body attack. He can drive Viloria back into the ropes, not give him any room, and just continuously come after him. And Segura has shown that he could fight in a bigger ring and he could fight in a small ring. So in a fight with Segura, the size of the ring may not matter all that much for Viloria because he's always coming forward. He's always pressing the action. He's always looking to go to the body. He's a pretty good body puncher, and he knows how to cut off the angles, and he knows how to not give his opponent any room, and he doesn't want to give Viloria any room in this fight. So on the other hand, you have Brian Viloria. Brian Viloria is a puncher that is a fighter that puts his punches together quite well. He fires off 3-4 punch combinations. He has a very good right hand. And he lands it very hard, and he can land it from a specific angle or position himself to where he can land the right hand. One thing to notice about Giovanni Segura to me is more of a less skilled version of Matthew Saad Muhammad. If you remember Matthew Saad Muhammad was a fighter that his defense was very flawed. He did not have good defense, but he made up for it on offense when he returned shots. When he came back with punches, like the fight with Dwight Braxton. When Dwight Braxton continued to hit him with lead shots, power lead shots like the lead left and the lead right, and then he's right in front of you. Segura will not throw that specific lead shot, but the thing about him is his defense is very suspect, but he does make up for it in exchanges or when he's on offense. When he's being aggressive, he makes up for that for that defensive flaw, those defensive flaws. Being that Segura is a pressure fighter and he's very flat-footed, Brian Viloria has to use his legs quite a bit. He has to get his use his legs to position himself in the ring to where he can land his power punches, where he can land his power shots. He has to utilize the jab, work behind the jab, and set up his power punches and be patient with it. He has to be patient with it, set up his shots, and other than setting up the shots, use the legs to get out of the way, and kind of offset Segura. Not and I think that Viloria has a lot more punching power than Ivan Calderon, and he's a bigger fighter. So I think that Segura is going to take his punches very well early in the fight, but I just think that Viloria his job in this fight is to continuously turn. He has to continuously turn Segura around. He's going to have to make him continue to try to change position and catch him throughout the fight. Catch him in specific positions. As he turns, hit him. Hit him with the right hand. Look for the left hook. And even look for 3-4 punch combinations from the outside, and using effective movement. And if he has to, he can box. He has to take that fight off that back foot. But I don't know if Viloria is capable of doing that. But I think against Segura, who is a bit slow on the feet, but has a quick first step, but very slow walking forward. I think he can make that adjustment and take that back step and throw the one shot and move. I think he's very capable of doing that. So who I think is going to win this fight? Hard fight to call for me. Giovanni Segura, the thing with him is he is emphasizing a lot on knocking out Viloria, and Viloria has been knocked out by Carlos Tamara. Who knows if Giovanni Segura has carried the weight up to 115 pounds. He may have. He may have a lot more energy at 115 because early in his career he was, from what I know, he was having trouble making the 108 pound limit. And this was like early in his career, I believe. He was having trouble making the weight limit. But the question is, does Giovanni Segura have the adjustments to defeat Brian Viloria? He could take the punch as well, but he's emphasizing on the knockout. And when you emphasize a lot on the knockout, you don't do what you need to do in order to lead up to that knockout. A few fights, one fight I can mention in particular is Pavlik versus Hopkins, when Pavlik was completely outclassed. In the pre-fight build-up, you could tell Pavlik was emphasizing a lot on the knockout, saying, yeah, I'm going to knock Hopkins out, I'm going to knock him out. Felix Trinidad and Roy Jones, even though Felix Trinidad was faded as all hell and Roy Jones is faded as all hell and still is faded to all hell these days, Felix Trinidad was emphasizing on the knockout against Roy Jones, and he emphasized on the knockout against Bernard Hopkins as well. Fighters that emphasize on the knockout, for most of the time, do not do what they have to do in order to lead up to that knockout. Is Giovanni Segura able to do that? Does he have the adjustment? And if he doesn't get the knockout, or let the knockout come to him, because Segura is the type of fighter that goes for the knockout. It's like, if he lets it come to him, can he make the adjustments in order to get that knockout? And with Carlos Tamara came after Viloria late, and Viloria does fatigue late in fights. So I think Viloria is going to have to take out Segura early. But I think that Segura is going to have the energy to go on throughout the fight and get probably either an 11th round TKO or unanimous decision victory over Brian Viloria. So I'm going with Giovanni Segura by a decision, and probably a close decision. So anyway, peeps, I'm out here. That was The Distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.